It's time for Saturday night's main event predictions. I kind of feel like they're putting more effort into Saturday's main event this time around. What do you think? But the first match on the card is going to be the World Heavyweight Championship match. Jey Uso, Yeet, versus Logan Paul. Right now, overall, it kind of feels like Jey Uso to me is in like 3 stories. He's in the Logan Paul story. He is in the Seth Rollins story that's going on with Braun Breaker. And then he's got Gunther still kicking around. Now, this build, I haven't really thought much of it. Have you? Again, coming off of WrestleMania, Jey Uso is in so many different directions that I feel like Logan Paul is third in line in terms of the pecking order of all these feuds. The build specifically for Logan versus Jey, I haven't enjoyed it that much, unfortunately. I found it very just kind of standard stuff. And I think a lot of it is just not having a really strong opponent for Jey coming off of WrestleMania. I like what they're doing with him, where he's involved with Seth. Having the title match was great. Braun Breaker, I really like all of that. This just feels like almost we have to get it done. Thought this would be at Backlash, and it's not. But we've had a couple of promo segments back and forth, but really nothing to hit home about. So I gotta say Jey Uso retains, because I don't see a world where Logan Paul is going to win that world title just yet. We may see Logan Paul in Money in the Bank though. Could you see anything happening post-match though for Jey? Interference from Gunther, for example, because after Money in the Bank, that is going to be his next opponent. They want to rebuild that storyline once again. If Jey wins and beats Logan Paul clean, you could have Gunther come out at the end, but I think you need to have a straight up victory, clean victory for Jey, and just leave it at that. Okay, tag team match. Surprised they're doing this at main event, but great. Sami Zayn and CM Punk tagging up to go up against Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker with Paul Heyman in the corner. Arguably the top story on Raw right now, and I really like everybody that's involved in all this. I think Braun Breaker needs to have a really standout moment and spot in this match. Seth Rollins coming off of WrestleMania, the big heel turn. CM Punk, Sami Zayn, their dynamic, their relationship, I think is going to have a big role in this match. This is not going to be one and done where they're going to just move on and do different stuff. I think that this is going to be one of the key starting points to a larger story that's happening this year. So what I mean is, I think that there is a possibility Sami Zayn turns on CM Punk. May or may not side with Seth Rollins. I don't know if I really want to see that. Braun, Sami, and Seth as a team, as a unit, with Paul Heyman mixing it up. Sami Zayn's character at this point in his career, he's kind of done everything character-wise as a good guy. We have seen Sami through great stuff of the Bloodline and post-Bloodline, and the friction between him and Paul Heyman is really good because of their history. Sami and Seth Rollins, that's all good stuff. But I think a new wrinkle could be Sami Zayn, CM Punk, and Sami getting frustrated in the match, or that they don't win, and it's Sami who ends up turning on Punk, not necessarily aligning with Seth, going off to do maybe his own thing, and maybe Punk and Sami can spin off into like a TV program, all the while still dealing with Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, and everything. At the end of it all though, I do think you need Seth and Braun to win. Seth lost the championship match against Jey on Raw. This new faction, this new group has just come together. They need momentum. They need to keep that momentum. They need to stay strong. I think that they need to get this victory in the tag team match and to again propel and set things up going down the line, where you can have singles matches of Punk versus Braun, Punk versus Seth once again. But I think Sami Zayn's going to play a bigger role in all of this. This could lead to Sami versus CM Punk in Saudi Arabia, if they want to do that, if Punk's gonna go. But they need a story beat in here to then help push them over into Raw the next week. Next up, we have a steel cage match. Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre one-on-one. A steel cage match at Saturday Night's Main Event? Hey, I'm all for it. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I think that the street fight was fun at WrestleMania. The spot they did at Backlash, also good. Glad Drew is not concussed, but I'm a little, what about you? I'm a little done with this feud. This has been a long time. Feel like you're getting blow off after blow off. So because Drew McIntyre has beaten Damian Priest a couple of times, you gotta think that Priest needs to get the win here. I'm just more forward thinking in terms of where are they gonna go from here with both guys? Because I see Drew trying to get into Money in the Bank, maybe winning Money in the Bank, getting into the title scene, the main title scene, Damian Priest, I don't see it as much. And so do you give it to Drew to win the steel cage match by dastardly tactics, or maybe he does do it cleanly? But if Drew wins, then you got to think that he's got to move on to something bigger. And neither of them have another story built in place. You could have Drew and LA Knight spin off and have a feud. They've gone at it before. Damian Priest, though, again, if Priest wins and just beats Drew clean, I feel like that really pushes Drew McIntyre down, and it shouldn't do that. Does Priest need the win? I mean, kind of. He keeps losing in big moments. So in the last couple of PLEs, like Backlash and Mania, he has lost. So Priest kind of needs a victory here. This is the match that I'm torn on, that I can see it go either way. I don't want this to, I think that because this is a steel cage match, this is the culmination of the feud. This is the blow off. They need to move on from this. I again worry that they don't know what they're going to do with either guy coming out of Saturday night's main event. I also started to wonder, could they do a finish like they've done in the past, where I think it was Brock and Roman, where they both went through the cage wall and they broke it, and then it was like one of them stands up and they are the victor, but it's kind of like a wash of a finish. Do they try to have both guys land outside at the exact same time, trying to make it a no contest? I feel like they gotta have some drama in there. So for this one, I'm just gonna go because I'm a fan. I'm just gonna say Drew McIntyre picks up another victory over Damian Priest. And maybe it's just one of those where Drew happens to fall out of the cage and he gets the victory, so that we could try somehow to keep Damian Priest strong. I don't know. And then the main event, what I assume will be the main event of Saturday night's main event, R-Truth taking on the 17th time champion John Cena. I like Truth's promo he did with Wade Barrett. He sat down on SmackDown. I thought that was effective. I'm glad that they are doing this match. I think it is one of those matches in John Cena's retirement tour that they need to have some kind of payoff to. There's a lot to unpack with this potentially very small match. Do I see this being a 15-20 minute barn burner? No. This will be, I think, okay, for the match part of it, my belief is that this is going to be it could be 10 minutes, but I don't see it being a big wrestling match. I see it being a lot more character stuff, a lot more of R-Truth pleading with John Cena to be a good guy again. He doesn't like this version of John Cena. This isn't his hero. But R-Truth in his promo to talk about how he is going to fight him. He's going to have to. So I think there's going to be a lot of reluctancy from R-Truth wanting to hit Cena, not go through with it. And it could be very quick. Like, it could be just Truth maybe getting a couple of punches and moves in, and then it turns into attitude adjustments. Cena stops playing around with Truth and just squashes him. But if this is going to be the main event match, it can't be just like a 5-minute thing that's silly and breaks down. They got to do more with it. So I am actually excited for this because I want to see what character work they do within the ring. Is R-Truth going to copy Cena move for move? Because at R-Truth's age, guy can still go. The thing is that R-Truth is beloved by all WWE fans. So it's going to be good heat for John Cena. But I do think, okay, so obviously Cena's going to win. He's going to beat R-Truth. This Truth's not winning. However, the post-match, I think they could do something very interesting with John Cena. At the end of Backlash, when everything went off the air, at least here in Canada on Netflix, we didn't see it. There was a post-match angle or moment that happened where John Cena was listening to the crowd and he was getting teary-eyed. And he was kind of, I think, thinking that this is not a good way for his character to go. That he was feeling some reluctance of like, oh man, what have I done? I don't like doing this. I don't like this version of myself. He's looking at his belt a lot. I think that they could be starting to play into that. I think R-Truth could be the catalyst to start John Cena's inevitable return as a babyface. Or Cena doubles down even more heelish and destroys R-Truth, because that would give him way more heat. But if they do want to eventually get Cena to a point where the heel arc ends and they bring him back and finish as a babyface, then R-Truth could start that process, begging with John that he shouldn't be doing this, John Cena beating him down, finishing him, submitting him, attitude adjustments, all of that, but John Cena feeling like there is a little hesitation in there. And if you see that hesitation in the match or post-match, that's gonna, I think, play into a lot of different stuff of what we see going forward, where he does have the next feud and the next matches at Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, and so on. I think that we could see a little bit more out of Cena going into the face direction. Because what's really fun about John Cena right now is I think his promos as a heel are getting more entertaining. Like, they shifted his character when they were leading from WrestleMania to post-Mania. They had a very, I think, clear direction of what they were doing going into WrestleMania with him. I'm going to destroy, I'm going to ruin wrestling, all this stuff. He's super ultra serious. And then coming out of Mania with Randy, felt like Cena was getting a little bit more comedic, having a little bit more fun with it in terms of the character. So the crowd is kind of getting into it and they're favoring John Cena a little bit more. That's why you need somebody very positive, good, ultra good in R-Truth to combat that. So I'm very interested to see what happens with Saturday Night's Main Event, the John Cena moment, because it could indicate to us what direction they could take Cena in for the future and if he will turn to a good guy once again. And then after that, we got Money in the Bank. We're starting to get some qualifying matches, but if you guys want to talk Money in the Bank, we got this video giving you our men's Money in the Bank predictions and all that. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Have a great day. See ya.